Eagles fly. Let's peep the squad. Big Pat Shell and Dante the Dark Jive. Drop the stats on them. Drop the facts on them. Spur King, baby. Let's get it on.
Hey, fam, it's your man Dante the Dark Knight, and welcome. Or maybe I just refer to myself as Dark Knight. That's what I'm going by nowadays, right? It's Dark Knight, and this is another episode of Eagles Talk by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. Here with my man. Look who showed up in the off season. We don't get to see him much. He made a special guest appearance for us, our own Pat. Pat Sandler's in the house, man. I'm glad somebody came out to join me, man. We are eagerly anticipating the training camp. We're going to talk a little bit about OTAs, how everybody feel about the Eagles coming out of OTAs, what we are expecting based on the reports out of OTAs, what we may be expecting from the Eagles going into training camp, and even this season. And then if you read the title of the show, we're going to pose the question. I got this straight off of the WIP midday show. And the question is, if you had to win one game, you only need to win one game, what Eagles quarterback would you choose to do that? Now, we're not going to talk about it just yet, but that's going to be coming up a little later in the show. But first, we got to do what we do here best, and that is where Eagles talk. We like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. I am still on my non-drinking thing, so I'm going to just be taking a sip of my juice. So, but everybody out there, everybody knows the regular deal here. But just before we do that, I need a little bit more light. So just excuse me for a second, Pat. If you can address the crowd, I'll be right back.
Well, I'm just going to let you know what I'm drinking. I'm drinking on a Jack Daniels triple mash, 100 proof bonded in bond Jack Daniels bottle. So I'm doing that. Actually, very good.
All right, there you go. All right.
It's very good for Jack Daniels, too. Just letting you know what I'm drinking out there.
Oh, Jack Daniels. Oh,
Jack Daniels triple mash.
All right, here
100
we go.
proof, yeah.
Now I'm in uniform. with everything. All right, here we go. I try to use a different background when I go in with BG. And if anybody has been tuned to Eagles Talk Facebook page, even on the YouTube channel, you know that I do another podcast with BG31 called The State of the Eagles. Been very interesting, our interactions on there. BG is a diehard fan, as we all are, but he's a lot more homerish than anybody on this show. I mean, sometimes I have to bring him back down to earth. I mean, I try to deal in some sort of reality and be objective about it. I love the Eagles too. But 17-0, that just doesn't seem realistic to me. So sometimes I have to reel them in a little bit. But that's the back and forth that we have on that show. It's good to be back here on this show, though, where we are. Well, and Pat can get a little humorous sometimes too, but he's mostly objective, though, especially when he's talking the X and O's of the team, which we'll be doing today, going over some of the potential position battles in training camp and projected starters who you see maybe starting the season off, and how do you think that it will start off? Because I'm under the impression. Well, let's do the shot first. All right, so everybody out there, you know the deal, you know the routine. We're going to take this shot and we're going to go down the hatch. So 3, 2, 1. You're now listening to the first quarter. All right, that's the first quarter. So, Pat, you've heard the reports coming out of training camp. I'm under the impression that the offense should be better, right? I think the offense should be better. We added 2 nice running backs. We really love Swift, right? We really love Swift, and I think even Penny is an upgrade to the running back room on this team, right? So. The only weakness I may see, and if you've been watching the State of the Eagles or even this show, is the slot receiver position, right? I'm down on Quez right now. I'm down on Quez. I've been on record as to say that at this moment, you can give me 2 peanut butter jelly sandwiches and a tall glass of milk, and you guys can have Quez. That's where I am right now with Quez until Quez proves me wrong or shows me differently. That's where I'm at with Quez. But that's the only weakness that I see possibly on this offense, the slot receiver position. And that's not bad because the other 2 receiver positions are solidified. We have a top 5 tight end. So the passing game should still be potent, right? So, but you can't add too many weapons to this offense. So I would like to have a competent slot receiver, and Quez has just not been reliable in a lot of situations. So that's why I'm down on him. Now, do I hate him? No, I don't hate him, but I will take them peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Don't get it twisted. And I know I would take those peanut butter jelly sandwiches and that tall glass of milk. But I'm being facetious a little bit because I don't need 20 ounces. I'll use 16 ounces of cold glass of milk. I'll go for that. I'll settle for that. But that's where I'm at. But on the defensive side of the ball, I think that's where I have my biggest questions. That's where I don't know if they're going to be as good as last year coming out the gate. Now, potentially, I think they have the potential to be as great as last year's defense. With the young the young horses, the young guns we got coming in to play defense for us, the young guns that are being promoted this year that's going to have a bigger role in this year's defense, such as Jordan Davis, the Georgia boys to be exact, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Smith. If they have the potential to be better than who they replaced. But I don't know if that's going to be straight out the gate. That's my biggest question mark. I don't know if they're going to come and perform like we expect them to on day one. So, and then there's also the matter of the defensive coordinator. I don't know how he's going to utilize these guys, how he's going to deploy this defense. I hope it's more aggressive than last year's defense. The numbers of last year's defense was off the chart, right? But the eye test, when we looked at that team, and I said it last year, we have all these great stats, but when to the eyes, it doesn't seem like a dominant defense. So hopefully this new coordinator can meet the eye test challenge. And to us, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but to us, the eye test is almost as important as the numbers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we had great numbers, 3rd most sacks in the history of the NFL, but it didn't look like a 85 Bears defense. It didn't look like a 91 Eagles defense. It didn't look ferocious or anything, but it got the job done. How do you feel, Pat?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The defense last year, it failed the eye test. But when you go look at the stats, he's like, they had what? They were ranked who? They had what? So, it's a saying that you built a team from the line on out. And we already got that solidified. So I'm not worried about the battles that's going on with the defense and offensive line. I'm just looking forward to the rotations. I do agree with you with our slot wide receiver. If we don't feel confident enough, with Quez Watkins in there, we got the other guy there. What's his O'Malley?
OZ, that's all I call him. OZ.
OZ.
I can. OZ.
There you go. So Oz, he is a competent slot receiver. He's a smaller guy who's more quick and fast, and he can get the job done. If we don't feel confident in any of these receivers at the 3rd receiver, D Hop is still a free agent. I know.
Right? Yeah, true that.
I know that's
true
not
that.
happening. That's not happening. I do agree with our running back situation. I think we're in a better running back situation with the stable running backs that we have now. Rashard Penny fills a big void of a bigger back that we've been wanting for since we had LeGarrette Blount here. We haven't had somebody over 210 since LeGarrette Blount was here. So he fills that slot. Not only is he got breakaway speed, he is a powerful runner. Swifty is just like his name is very swifty, and he gets the job done on 3rd down situations. He can be a bell cut running back, but with the stable running backs, I'm not worried about our running game situation because Jalen Hurts leads that stable. Let's be honest. Jalen Hurts makes this offense go. So I'm not worried about our offense. Like you said, the defense is the worry. The unknown of Sean decide what kind of defense we employ. The unknown about our linebackers. Like, yes, we got Nakobe Dean. But Morrow, is he going to be the starter? Is Christian Ellis going to be a guy there that's going to be a starter? Because he made noise in OTAs. They talked about him since the start to the end. So he's been a thumper. Then you go to that secondary. You got Jamel Edmonds. You got Reed Blankenship. Um, Keely Ringo is going to be in the mix somewhere down the line. Then you got it's a whole big slot of guys. Sidney Brown, our draft pick. So my worry on the defense is not the defensive line. I think we're going to be okay with our defensive line. We're going to miss the 10 plus sacks from Javon Hargrave, but I think we stepped up and replaced that with a younger talents that can produce just as much or even better than Javon over a course of time. And plus the money's not high, but our linebacker situation, our safety situation, that's what I worry about. That middle of the field is very important to how we play defense. Regardless if our defensive line can get as pressure on a quarterback, if the linebackers don't hold up, the safeties don't hold up, then we're gonna have an issue in that part of the field on game day.
Yeah, I agree. Let me welcome our third co-host of the night, and that's you guys in the chat room. Thank you for joining us tonight. First person in the room tonight was Richard Layton. He says, Eagles fan, what's up? What's up, Richard?
What up?
Dwight Brown was second. He says, what's up, fam? Our loyal follower on YouTube. As a matter of fact, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. James Edgefield says, welcome back, fam. I thought you were jumping ship on those other shows, Dark Knight. No, I'm not jumping ship. But, I was tagged to do that, and I was happy to do that with BG. Interesting. It's an interesting show, fun show. We have fun on there. But, I'm Eagles talk all day, all the time. The X Factor's in the house. What's up, family? Pat's in the house. Yes, we got we got another co-host, Pat. See, Pat, they miss you, man. I'll tell you. Ed Clinton says 27 days. Yes, 27 days to training camp.
July
and I can't
25th.
wait for it. Yeah. Tremont says, what's up, Eagles fam? Yeah, what's up? Richard is doing the Jameson and ultralight as always. That's what he does. He does the Jameson and ultralight. And 14-3. I got us at like 13-4. Pat has us at like 16-1 or something like that.
Yeah, I think we got one loss. I got that under something. I'm gonna reveal it at the end of the season, see which one came closer to the actual record. But I gotta give you some kudos, man.
What's that?
To you, Dark Knight, man. Listen, if anybody's an avid listener to WIP, we don't call Dante anymore Dante. His name is Dark Knight. Dark Knight is becoming a regular on the WIP, and those guys let him talk. Normally, when the caller calls in, I already called him and told him this. I said, when the normal caller calls in, they cut him off. They don't let them get their point across, and they're interrupting him all the time. Dark Knight got on there. They shut up and let him talk.
Wow, that's I'm humbled. I'm humbled by that because there's a lot of people that I consider like the goats of, especially the Marks and Reese show. They're like goats on that show. They are celebrities in the city because of their appearance on WIP and Marks and Reese show. So to allow me to get that much time, yeah, I'm honored. I'm humbled. And today I was on there, and the two big heavy hitters, the two biggest callers are OG Wade. He actually had an in-studio appearance, and Chuck from Mount Airy, and they were kind of going at it. And every since I've come on, I've said I'm coming for Chuck's spot. He's the number one guy. I'm coming for his spot. So that kind of gets me noticed. And then when you have bravado such as that, you can't drop the ball when it's your turn. So it's an honor to get that much time, and hopefully I can reach the status of those two guys. They are entertaining, but I didn't know. I'm probably going to have to bring out the WWE Dark Knight when I go on the show, because I see that they kind of go over the top. And the day they were even talking about, fisticuffs today, and I was like, dang, I do want the number one spot, but I didn't know I was going to have to go to the gym to get it. So,
I got your back, man.
All right. But I told him, man, I'm like Kobe, man. I got the Mamba mentality. I'm like Jalen Hurts. I got a work ethic like no other. I'm not going to back down. And
Yeah,
like Ike explained in his fight with or potential fight with Trotter back in the day, I'm not looking forward to it, but if I got to defend my manhood, I'm going to have to defend my manhood. So I'm having a good time on there. But I'm hopefully we'll have some of those callers on the show. I've been trying to establish a relationship with them through Twitter. So maybe I'll bring on some of those guys. So you guys that are not in the Philadelphia area that do not have the privilege of hearing WIP 94.1 FM in Philadelphia, you will get to experience some of their football knowledge, their Eagles knowledge, and their personality. Ed Clinton says, no 2-minute limit, DK the man, yo.
no,
So
he breezes past that 2 minute limit. I think not today. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Yeah, yesterday it was past 2 minutes because they was listen. They shut up and listen to Dark Knight. I'm gonna say when I say both Marks and Reese actually listen. Then they say, you know what, you are spitting facts. They say, yo, yeah, you talking the truth. They agree with
I
everything he's
try. I
saying.
try. That's what I do. I mean, that's what I want to do. That's how I want to gain notoriety, not through acting like a clown. And I'm not saying those guys do that, but they're entertaining. I mean, we gotta face it. Like these shows are not only informative, but they have to be entertaining. You guys are not sitting here because we're some bumps on the log. I think that you respect the fact that we're spitting good knowledge of the team and we're also entertaining. I mean, we take our show on the road and we do it frequently. We do live appearances. How many podcasts actually get booked to do live appearances? So we do that. We try to be entertaining and all that. But getting back to the Eagles, someone said in the chat room, D-Rock said it, if I'm to say this, if we don't fix our linebackers, we will have a setback. And I don't know, Pat. I mean, you spoke to it a little bit, but get a little deeper into these replacements. So we had to replace TJ Edwards and Kazir White. And Kazir White started off kind of hot, but overall, he didn't have a season where he set the world on fire. So with the replacements, I mean, projected replacements, because we don't know who's going to finish training camp at the starting spot. But going into training camp, I perceive the depth chart being Nakobe Dean, since he has the green dot, he's calling the plays. So he's going to start off training camp at least to start at one linebacker position. And I'm projecting, or at this moment, it would be Morrow. Morrow would be the other one, right? I don't know. So those are the projected number ones at the spot, and you got Hassan Reddick, but he kind of plays in. But if you had to name three of them, we're gonna say it's a 4-3, then Hassan Reddick would be the other one. So how do you feel about the potential replacements of TJ Edwards and Kazir White, and what kind of job do you perceive them to do? Are they going to be as good? Do you think they'll be as good as those linebackers or better?
Well, let's look at it in a whole totality, right? Kazir White was the speed linebacker. He was the undersized guy that moved from a safety position to the linebacker position and made plays based off his speed. So you could play him in open space against these quicker running backs and stuff of that nature. TJ Edwards was a hard-working, undrafted rookie free agent that worked his butt off to become a tackling machine for us. But there's a reason why these guys were just let go and not given contracts. It's not for them not lack of trying. They worked outstanding together. But TJ Edwards is a tackling machine, but he's more of a guy that reacts, that waits till the action comes to him instead of taking the action to the actual running backs and stuff of that nature. So don't get me wrong, they work well together. But now we should have some linebackers that can make some plays. Nakobe Dean was a heat-seeking missile with Georgia. That defensive front allowed him to be the top linebacker in the country. He allowed him to be the top defensive player in the country. And he has those two guys back together. So that's a start. Nicholas Morrow is coming over from, I believe, the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken. He's a tackling machine too. He's just like TJ Edwards. He brings the ability to make first contact and make a tackle. But what we need in this position is, and I talked about it before when I last time I was on here about Christian Ellis, about somebody that's going to take on a tackle, take on a guard, go through them and make the play on the negative side. We need those linebackers that react quicker than what their vision is given to them. The instinctual skills to see a hole, hit the hole, make the play instead of reacting to, oh, it's over there. Let me flow down. Yes, you got to flow down as a linebacker, but at some point you got to attack. You got to attack. If you don't attack, then that offense is getting 3 to 4 yards per play. If you average it out, if offense averages 4 yards per play on third down is short. They're gonna get a first down. So we need some people that makes it much difficult on the offense than what we had last year. The Kobe Dean is a very good run linebacker. He's undersized, but Zach Mills is undersized. Zach
Sam Mills.
Thomas. Zach Thomas was undersized. Sam Mills
Yeah.
was undersized. But they were one of the better tackling linebackers in NFL history. Like, so I don't put it past N'Kobe to be a star on this level. But I'm really looking forward to this guy, Christian Ellis, supplanting Nicholas Zamora as the starting next to N'Kobe Dean. There are some other guys that's going to be filling those positions, but Sean Bradley's going to get an opportunity. We got Davion Taylor one more time. This is his last chance. Davion Taylor, this is your absolute last chance to make this roster. Sean Bradley, he's probably gonna make the roster because he's a special teams guy. So that's my outlook for these linebackers. And like I said, I would love to see that battle in camp because battle makes you better.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me get some comments that are on here now. First of all, JT is stuck in stinking Texas until 9:04, waiting on his flight. Okay, what are you doing down in Texas? Don't go to Texas. The damn cow turds in Texas. That's why they did it on purpose. JT, they know you're an Eagles fan. They held your flight up. Don't go to Texas. All right, James Edgefield says, if our D-line do what they're supposed to do, our linebackers will be okay. The D-line will be able to cover up our LB weaknesses. I kind of agree with that. Big boys up front. I mean, that's how N'Kobe Dean really shine. Not, he has the athletic ability, the physical ability. He's a heat-seeking missile, like you stated, but that big Georgia line helped him or allowed him to play so free and just shoot the gaps. And we're looking for the same with this defensive line. I mean, that's our bread and butter, right? You just said we build through the line. We build inside out. So our defensive line is pretty, I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with it. And maybe the young guys won't have the pressure or won't have to have the pressure of being so much dependent upon because we have a nice defensive line. Milt Williams, Marlon, I can't pronounce his last name, Marlon T. I'll just call him Marlon T.
Mario Ojambo?
No, Marlon. Marlon. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy right there. That guy right there. They're good. You know what I'm saying? And it's all a rotation on the defensive line. You got Fletcher Cox too. You got Jordan Davis, who's come back slimmer and as big as he was last year, and as fast as he was. Imagine him slimmer, more muscular, and still have that speed. So I'm looking for him to take a step up. So I agree with you, James. That D line should help the linebackers out immensely as far as keeping the big guys off of them and allow them to shoot gaps and make plays there. The Green Talons, I welcome you. Thank you for joining us, man. He says, we do have a undrafted free agent linebacker the Eagles signed this past draft, and not to mention other linebackers as well. Only time will tell, and that's true. We have to see what happens. Oh, he's been rerouted from Belize. Okay, Jeremy T told me he was rerouted from Belize. Okay. BJ says, what's one weakness you see on the field and off the field? Well, we'll get into that to the second quarter. We'll answer that. We'll leave that up there. But let's end this first quarter here.
And that's the end of the quarter.
And just to let you know, the undrafted free agent was Ben Van Summering. So these names on his team are crazy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to go
never
over
Michigan State guy though. Never Michigan State guy. So special teams might be his niche, like Ike Reese.
And yeah, we usually do. Howie does a great job of signing undrafted free agents after the draft, and some of them in the past years have been major contributors to this team. I can, right off the top of my head, Corey Clement. I remember in the Super Bowl year, he was undrafted free agent, and he damn near won the MVP of the Super Bowl if it wasn't for Nick Foles. So that's just one that comes off the top of my head. So Howie does a great job at that. But that's the end of the first quarter. You are watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around, that's by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. I am doing cranberry juice. I'm just doing cranberry juice. Pat is holding it down because he's a young Thundercat. He can still do that. So he's Jack Daniels. You guys let me know.
I got 2 more days. I'm going to take off the month of July after the 4th.
Okay. He's going to take off the month of July and come back for the training camp.
Yeah.
He'll be back for training camp. All right, so here we go. To our Philadelphia Eagles, everyone raise your glass and down the hatch. 3, 2, 1. You're now listening to the second quarter. All right, second quarter. So let's answer this question for BJ. I'm sorry. What's the one weakness you see on and off the field, Pat?
It's twofold. Like I said, we talked about the linebackers just now, but it's actually the safety position, and the defensive coordinator. How do you deploy your defense? How would he make sure that we're continue to have success on our defensive side of the ball? How can he make sure this defense lives up to the hype and be better than we were last year? It's hard to say that this defense can do what last year's defense did, because let's be honest, the offense put this defense in a position to say, you know what, all these teams must pass. So therefore, it was better for our defense. We're going to be in games where we're play the Bills. We're going to play the 49ers. We're going to play all the top teams that they all asked us to play last year, this year in a row. What is this defense going to provide? Where it step up with this defensive coordinator be the linchpin to make sure this team rides again and goes to the Super Bowl. Another thing is the safeties, like I just talked about. Reed Blankenship showed that he can play. He's an undrafted rookie free agent. There you go again. Yeah. Right? He showed that he can play, right, last year. Last year he picked up Aaron Rodgers. He made some big tackles. He's a tackling machine. We know that he can tackle. His coverage was the one that was lacking. Then you got Sidney Brown, the rookie that we picked up from Illinois. Will he make the transition to the pros better than most safeties like K'Wan Wallace did? Because we expected K'Wan Wallace to be the next Brian Dawkins. He hasn't lived up to the hype. Then you have Jamel Edmonds coming over from the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's Jamel Edmonds and Reed Blankenship are supposed to be the starting safeties. That doesn't scare me. That doesn't scare me. Well, it does
scare. It scares you. It scares you the other way.
It scares me the other way. Like, but if I'm an offensive coordinator and I see those two safeties there, I'm gonna do my best to have a mismatch with one of those safeties the whole game.
And coverage, yes.
So it's all on our defensive coordinator to make sure you put the players in the best positions to succeed. Then it's on the players to work your butt off right now, just like Nolan Smith. Once OTAs broke, he went out and started working. He started working to get better. It's on the players to say, you know what, we're dissatisfied with the performance we put out last year. And we talked about this, Dark Knight. We had a conversation about this last year about what was better. Where is the talent on this team? Is the talent on this team better than the 2017 team? And I kept saying the 2017 team is better than this team because they didn't win the Super Bowl. I think they have that mentality because Jalen Hurts is kicking himself down. So you know what? We did all this last year, but we didn't get to the ultimate goal. So it's all these players and our defensive coordinator to make sure that they come out here and rock and roll when that whistle blows.
Yeah, I agree. So who's the one weakness I see on the field? I'll probably echo the same thing. The defensive, I don't want to go to one position. Let me say the defensive coordinator. Is that on the field or maybe that's off the field? I don't know. All right, that's off the field. So the defensive coordinator, I don't know if I'm gonna call it a weakness. Let me rephrase mine is like more, what's the biggest question marks to me? Yeah. So the biggest question mark to me is the defensive coordinator. It's comforting to know that they pick someone where he's not going to overhaul the defensive scheme that they played last year, so they don't have to learn a new defensive scheme, but he's going to implement it in his style. He's going to implement it in his style, and I don't know what that style is. I just don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of history on what he likes to do. I know he was D coordinator in Chicago, but I don't know how he's going to deploy this defense. So that's a big question mark for me. And along the same on the same side of the field, on the field, is those replacements that we had. We had to replace 5 starters on the defense, and those replacements, how are they? Are they going to live up to the people they're replacing? Is this defense going to be the same or as good as last year's defense? Now, I think we all agree that last year's defense probably could have been better under another defensive coordinator because, we didn't like Jonathan Gannon passive play calling at times. So last year's defense could have possibly been better than it was if there was a different defensive coordinator. But we have this guy now. We have new parts to the puzzle, replacing 5 starters that left: CJ, GJ, TJ Edwards, Kazir White, Hargrave, and who else we lose? And another safety, Epps. And Epps. So we lost both our starting safeties, 2 of our linebackers, and a monster along the defensive line. Do we have the talent in place, in-house, that can take their place? So that's a question mark to me. I'm not saying that it can't be done. It's just a question mark to me, because if I look at it, at least along the defensive line, I think the defensive line should be better. And we just got rid of Hargrave, and I know he was a beast, but how much of that was he was just a beast, or he was the product of playing next to along a very talented defensive line? I mean, you really had to choose your poison when you were trying to protect your quarterback against our defensive line last year. You had to pick who were you going to double team, because we had multiple people across that defensive line that were candidates to be double teamed on each and every play. And you can't double team everybody. So that's why we had like 5 people in double digit sacks, because sometimes they would choose the wrong guy and other people would eat. So I still think we have that ability with the defensive line we had. I don't know how fast Jalen Carter is going to develop. I don't know. The history of, rookie defensive lineman tackles, especially, it's not that they light the world on fire unless they're really, really a special type of player. And we hope that he is, but I don't know if we can expect that. It's at least not coming out the gate, at least in my opinion. I don't know. I just think that the offense is going to be ahead of the defense coming into the season. Coming out of training camp, I think the offense is going to be ahead of the defense and going to have to hold it down for the most part until those guys are clicking on all cylinders. Now, I hope that they come out clicking, but, that's where I take it.
Let's be honest. The offense is still intact. We're missing 1 starter from last year. Isaac Salamalu, he went 4 hours up, to Pittsburgh. So we're missing 1 offensive starter from last year. So the offense better be ahead of this defense that's missing, like you said, 6 starters. We were missing 6 guys that made differences for us last year and contribute in every which way. We had the defensive leader in interceptions. He's gone. We had a guy that was fast, that worked his butt off to become a starting safety in Epps. We had 2 linebackers that worked well, paired well together. Javon Hargrave was an elite defensive tackle. You can't put him in the same sentence as Aaron Donald, but he's pretty doggone good. All right.
I
So
agree.
this defense we are replacing a lot of guys that made big splashes for this defense last year, that helped this defense eat, that made this team go. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not like Isaac Salamalu at guard, because I know he was drafted to be replacement for Kelsey. He was drafted to be a center, and they just put him in that position because Jason Kelsey is still playing at an All Pro level. Now you got Cam Jurgens, you got Tyler Steen. That's going to be a camp battle. Who would be that left guard? So That's something I look forward to. These particular small particular battles. That's what I look forward to. But just to double on what you said, Dark Knight. That defensive coordinator, I told you before, I loved his interview when he said, we want to be aggressive. We'll make sure you feel us, that you remember us. When he said that, I was a fan already. I became a fan because I haven't heard talk like that in years, to be honest with you, right? Um,
Yeah.
so I look forward to their aggression. Maybe we were more aggressive in the Super Bowl and a few more blitzes and stuff like that. Maybe it'd been a different outcome. But you know what? Maybe it's a you can't go, you can't turn the hands back. It is what it is. We need to move forward, and this team needs to come out, and hit home runs from day one.
Well, Eddie has a comment on the screen. He says DC has said he wants to be more aggressive. To what you just said, that's already better than Cannon. Yeah, that opening press conference probably endeared all of us to him, but I need to see it. I didn't. We all loved when Jonathan Gannon during the playoffs, riding past the fans, said we're going to gut him. That was the type of talk we like
We like
also,
that.
but he didn't live up to the aggressiveness
Mhm.
of that statement. So. I love that opening press conference. I just need to see that reflected on the field. Now, my host on the other show says that this defense is better than last year's defense.
They haven't
Um,
played yet, so I
yeah,
can't say that.
that's the only reason why I have a little bit of hesitation. I want to see it on the field before I make a claim like that.
Mhm.
And he's just like, we're better. We're a better defense. Well, I mean, if we project the potential of these rookies, these defensive rookies and the young guys, then yes, they should be better. But we all know that projection is not reality all the time. We how many rookies in the first round are projected to be stars and don't turn out to be that way? I hope that that's not the case with us because we got 2 first-round draft picks. I hope both of them are stars, but the reality is not everybody turns into a superstar, and
Right.
especially in their rookie year. So that's just something that we are hoping that's going to happen. And somebody said, all right, Eddie said it right here in this comment. He said, 2023 will be a switch. The offense will be for the most part, will carry the team. Towards the end of the year, I will not be surprised if the rooks really are difference makers. And that's what I'm hoping for on the defensive side, that the rookies are really difference makers by the end of the year. So in order for that to happen, that means they have to get significant snaps during the year. Now, I was listening to Jody Mack talk about on the radio today, and he says the Eagles don't have a history of giving rookies a lot of snaps on the defensive side of the ball. And we saw that even with Jordan Davis. I know he got hurt and his snaps were
Mhm.
limited after that, but even before that, he was getting about 30 something percent of the snaps, maybe,
Less than that.
and less than that. So if they follow suit with that, then the rookies might not be difference makers late in the season. What I hope that they do is give them significant snaps so that they can be battle tested by the time we roll into the playoffs, a la the Kansas City Chiefs. We faced a lot of rookies on defense against them in the Super Bowl, and they got significant snaps through the years. I mean, throughout the regular season. Let me put it that way. Throughout the regular season, I want to see the same with our defensive rookies because these are the guys of the future, and there are cheap labor. So why not utilize them? Now I get it. We might have enough talent to not have to bring them along so fast, and that's a luxury to have if that's the case. But if they are on the same tier as some of these veterans, and I'll jump to the offensive side of the ball, but if they're on the same talent level and performance level as some of these veterans, then I say you give them a veteran snaps. Give them as many snaps as they can handle, and to speak to that point, moving to this offensive side of the ball, you talked about it, the guard, the right guard position battle in training camp between Jurgens and Steen. My take on that is if coming out of training camp, it's a tie, I think the tie goes to the young guy. What do
It
you think?
does. I agree with that because Cam Jurgens has a whole year in this league. He has a whole year of Stoutland University of understanding the do's and don'ts in pro football. Tyler Steen is coming from a very prestigious program in Alabama. He actually transferred over to Alabama, so he's played on a very high level there, and he has helped with the Bryce. What's the quarterback that from Alabama? Help Bryce become one of the better quarterbacks in college football. So if it is tied, it has to go to the young buck. It has to go to the rookie for the simple fact because it shouldn't be tied. It shouldn't be tied.
Right, right.
I'll tell you, if we me and you on the same basketball team in high school, you're 6'3", I'm 6'1". If me and you have the same stats coming out of the preseason, no way you should be playing.
Right.
You should be looking at me like this dude is making me I can't shake him. And I hate to say this, it shouldn't be discouraging. It should be more of a motivated factor that Tyler Steen comes in and works his behind off, and Cam Jurgens may just edge him out. That's a good thing for us. That's a good thing in the long run for the future of this offensive line that's going to stay intact and stay productive with these guys that are ready, that are pro ready already.
Yeah, it's a nice problem to have if you have two guys position battle wise are slugging it out and they are both good. It's always good to have talent on your team, and even if that talent has to come off the bench, that's a wonderful predicament to be in, right? Yeah. I mean, we have seen where our backup offensive linemen have to play significant snaps throughout the year with somebody getting nicked up or having to miss a game or two or so. So our offensive line depth has been beneficial to this team, especially last year, and we need that to happen and continue. Not only the offensive line depth, but depth all throughout the roster, and that's why we give Howie so much credit, because he has put together such a talented roster, and not just the first wave of players, but the second wave of players are also talented, and they can hold their own until those starters come back. That's why Howie's getting. That's why he's been named Executive of the Year multiple times in the last 5 years. So I give that. I'll always take my hat off to Howie until proven otherwise. And he's won the offseason again, in my opinion. But we want to see that translate to the regular season and the Super Bowl. I've already deemed this year the unfinished business tour, and I know it's very hard for those who lost the previous year's Super Bowl to return to the Super Bowl, but I'm looking forward to this team getting back to the Super Bowl, and I'm very optimistic that we have a shot at it, even with the tougher schedule that we have, because we have to play division winners this year. Mm-hmm. We don't get to play the schedule that we played last year, which was kind of easy. We have to play the division winners of last year, and that 5-game stretch of Dallas at home, then Kansas City in Kansas City, then the Buffalo Bills at home, and the San Francisco 49ers at home, and then Dallas Cowboys down in Dallas. So that 6-week stretch is going to tell the men from the boys there. I'm telling you. So that's why I can't go 16-1 or 17-0, because that is a really rough stretch in the season next year. But let's end this quarter.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, that's the end of the second quarter. You're watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. That's by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. And we do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. Yeah, we're not getting crazy. It's off season, but Pat's our young Thundercat, so he's going to hold it down for the coach.
Shot, man.
Yeah, his last shot. All right, even Pat's starting to look. I'm an old head, so I got excuses, but Pat's a young Thundercat. So, all right, so everybody, let me know what you're drinking. Pat's doing Jack Daniels. I'm doing the cranberry juice, and Michelle is on vacation, summer vacation. All right, so here we go. Down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the third quarter.
All right, let me go to some comments out there you guys talking about. Excuse me. Ed Clinton says, which non-first round pick are you most looking forward to see in action? Non-first round pick. I guess for me it would be Sidney Brown. I want to see in action.
I definitely want to see Sidney Brown and Keely Rango.
Oh, but how can we see him? Our cornerback. Look, isn't that something? Like our cornerback room is pretty talented. That's not been the case in the last, like prior to last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's not been the case, and now we have a slew of cornerbacks that we feel are talented. Starting with our starters, that may be the best starting cornerback duo tandem in the league. If not, definitely one of the top three, right? And so I don't know how does he play his way onto the field so you can see him
on preseason. I just want to see what the pundits kept talking about how if it wasn't for him being stiff hip, this and that, he would have been a first round draft pick. I went back and looked at this tape. This guy can cover. He can play the outside corner, and I don't care what anybody go look at his tape, and it's like it tells you a whole different story. It's another guy. It's a wide receiver, Joseph Nada, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him because he may end up creeping in that third wide receiver position.
What? Oh man, there you go. There you go, Quez. You got somebody else. I saw somebody called him Quez Dropkins.
You got come on, man. Don't kill him.
Quez Dropkins.
He's going to have a comeback year. I believe he will. I hope he will. I truly hope he does.
Well, I spoke to this. It's almost a little bit of similarity between him and Nelson Aguilar coming off of the 2016 season and going into the 2017 season. We were down on Nelly after that 2016 season. We were down on Nelly, and he redeemed himself in that Super Bowl season. So Quez has an opportunity to make that type of redemption if he can be more reliable. I'm not rooting against Quez. I'm just down on him. I hope he does get it together. Anything that if he gets it together and he adds to this offense, why wouldn't I root for him? I'm not against the guy. I want him to do better because that makes our team better, right? That makes our offense better. So I'm not rooting against him. I'm just down on him because of his past performance and specifically last year, So hopefully, Quez, you do what you're supposed to do. But luckily, we have some competition in the room, in the wide receiver room, for that third wide receiver spot.
And the last guy, he was our last pick, and he was projected to be a day 2, day 3 guy going in as early as the second round, as late as the third, maybe fourth round. He ended up going in the 7th round. That's Moro Ojama, defensive tackle from Texas. Like I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table because he graded out as one of the top 3 defensive tackles as far as run stopping in college football last year. So that's the 3 people I'm excited for.
All right, Dion finally showed up to the party. Where you been at, Dion? You was not here. You're late. All right, he says, man, I love to play division winners every year because you know what that means? Ask Belichick. Ask Belichick. All right. So, and James Etchfield says, we talked about the O and the D, but what about our special teams? Don't forget that it was special teams that was the Achilles heel all year. What do y'all think? I think I spoke to this on the last time we were together, or the last time. I don't even know if you guys were on there with me, but I spoke about the special teams. It's definitely an area of the team that we need to address because I think we all knew that it was a Achilles heel last year. They kind of got a little tiny bit better after it was talked about in the press, and I guess they gave them some help. I don't know. They kind of picked up a little bit, but they were the weakest unit out of the 3 units, and it ultimately cost us in the Super Bowl when they allowed that long punt return. That was a backbreaker at that time and that moment in the game. So to go into this season and them not address that would be foolish. And I don't think that Nick Sirianni is foolish. So I question or I asked why, I remember there was a time when we used to sign players just for the special teams. Remember that? We used to sign special team specialists. We need to
Yeah.
bring that back. I don't know what they're doing. I haven't heard anything, and maybe I just missed it, but I haven't heard any signings like that. But we need those special teamers, those special teamers, especially, I mean, who specialize in playing special teams on this squad. And maybe we might need to look at the coach. I don't know.
Listen, our special teams has been weak for the past 3 years, and that's it's been terrible. Aaron Sipos needs to lose that position. I understand that you get an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl, you're going to take that opportunity. Really we should just let him sit his butt down. Say what, you're injured. We brought this other guy in. We're gonna let him punt because that punt was terrible. I'll be honest with you. He basically punted into the wall. I mean, for the wall. That's what he did. He punted in for the wall. When you see something like that setting up, you punt towards the wall. So therefore, your players are going towards that direction. You have more players there. You punted opposite of the wall that's set up perfectly for a return. But enough of that. We got what's it, Todd Ziegler. He's the kicker for Kansas State. Is going to compete against Aaron Sipos this offseason. He has a great opportunity and chance to take that position from him. But we don't have no kick return or punt return specialists. We're using the same people we used last year: Brenton Covey, Boston Scott, Quez Watkins, Devontae Smith is a backup. Like, we can't have these guys out there any longer. We need specialists, like you said, Dante. We definitely need specialists that specialize on this particular aspect of football, because special teams is a major aspect of the game. It's a major aspect. You can win and lose a game with your special teams. More evident than anything, this was in a Super Bowl. Even in our 2017 Super Bowl, you saw those missed field goals was a big missed extra points was a big situation that helped us win that game. So I don't know if we signed somebody during training camp. I don't. I truly cannot go into the season thinking that Boston Scott's going to be our kick returner and Brenton Covey's going to be our punt returner, and that's it.
I
mean,
dread that.
don't get me wrong. I like Brenton Covey catches the ball and he takes a hit. He holds on to the ball. Don't get me wrong. He does the job. Like Rio Mahe. He does the job.
No. We want, if that's the job, then we need someone to do a better job at doing the job. Because if that's all we're asking for, someone to catch the ball and take the hit, then we're not setting the bar high enough. We need someone that has potential. Yeah, we need someone that can make a difference in the return game. Our return game is like null and void. If you think about it, our return game has been null and void for a long time. We haven't seen real excitement on the return game since Deshaun Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, we need a difference maker back there. And I hope that they get it together, not only the return game, but like you pointed out, the kicking game. The guy Ziegler has a big leg and kick booming field goals. So I'm looking forward to him supplanting, Sipos and getting him out the door. That may help. But we also need those dogs on the coverage unit also to make a difference down there.
Yeah.
So
I would like to see Devin Allen. I'm tired of him. Keep hearing stories about him winning these hurdles matches and this and that. He's going to be an Olympic guy. I want to see him back there catching those punts. If he can't catch punts, he shouldn't be on the team. I'll be honest with you. This is wasting the roster spot. Let him focus on Olympics. Somebody's put him in out because I can't say his name.
Ed says Oz will get a shot at returning. All right,
he will, but he might actually be our third. He might be our third freaking wide receiver. If he ends up beating Quez Watkins for the third wide receiver position, he's not our. He
can do both. Come on, man. I mean, we had Deshaun Jackson. He was an All-Pro and he was doing it. Come on now.
He did it 1 year. Then once he became All-Pro, he never did it again for us.
Yeah, true that. Well, when Oz becomes an All-Pro, he won't have to do it either. But until that time, he gets his butt back there. If he's the best one for the job, get your butt back there and return the darn kicks. Green Talent says we got to get special teams back and kill this in the Super Bowl where they allow 65, 70 yards return from KC. I knew that would kill us, because it was bad in the regular season. Yeah, we just talked about that. Dion is giving us his excuse for being late. Man, I was at dinner with the kiddos up here in New England, draped in birds gear. Sorry I'm late. We were representing. All right, you get a pass. If you were up in New England, in Boston area, and you were repping our birds and rubbing it in their face, then yeah, you get a pass. You can get a pass. All right. All right. Let's end this quarter. Last quarter, I want to talk about what quarterback you would pick if you had one game to win. All right.
And that's the end of the quarter.
The end of the third quarter. You're here watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. It's by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. I just saw that comment.
Yeah.
All right. So we here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team. That's the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. It's so much better when we're live at a tavern and doing that. But Pat is still holding it down, and he's going to go for the 4 for 4 tonight. Pat is holding it down with the Jack Daniels. I'm on the wagon. All right, so here we go. Down the hatch, everybody, raise your drink to our Philadelphia Eagles. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the fourth quarter.
All right, these guys are too kind. Benjamin Isaac says WIP's newest #1 caller. I hope. Dante, the Dark Knight Danny says, "What's up, Danny? How's those kids doing, man?" So in this quarter, and I ripped this right from WIP too, because Hugh Douglas has been getting killed on Twitter for his answer to this question. But I'm going to ask you guys, and we'll have an answer also. All right, it's one game. You got to win one game, and I'll put a little bit more conditions on this question because they didn't actually do this on WIP, but I'll make it like, all right, so you got to win one game. Let's say that game is the Super Bowl. You got to win one game. What Eagles quarterback would you choose to quarterback that game? What one? Now, Hugh Douglas chose Mike Vick. Everybody killed him on Twitter, because he chose Mike Vick over Nick Foles. His response or his reasoning was, it's the talent of the quarterback. I need to win one game. We can't, and he didn't say this, but I'm going to say it in his defense. We're talking about one game. We don't know what the situation is. We don't know what the personnel he's going to be playing for, but you need a quarterback that is going to be poised and is going to have the athletic and physical ability to be able to win one game. I'm happy that Nick Foles won that Super Bowl. But 3 out of 4 times, is he going to win that Super Bowl? We've seen Nick Foles play that way in that Super Bowl. And then when he's outside of the green uniform, plays like a very average quarterback. So I don't blame Hugh for not picking Nick Foles. I'm forever grateful for Nicky Foles for winning us our Super Bowl. But if I'm going to pick an Eagles quarterback all time to win me the Super Bowl, I don't know if it's Nick. I don't know. As a matter of fact, if I'm going to give my answer right here on the air, I might pick Jalen. Today.
So the conditions are any Eagles quarterback. It's not just
any Eagles quarterback in the history of
Nick Foles or Michael Vick. It's just any quarterback that win a game. So any
quarterback to win the Super Bowl game. And
we talking about Super Bowl game. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
The Super Bowl.
I thought we was talking about like a regular season game, a Monday night game, the NFC championship.
No, on WIP they didn't specify any game. They said if you had to pick one Eagles quarterback to win a game for you. Mm-hmm. I'm just putting the high stakes on it. You can keep that same definition. If you had to pick one quarterback to win a game for you,
I want to go in depth on that. I want to go in depth on that because if I had to have a quarterback, and I want to break down for a season playoffs Super Bowl. How about that? Is that all right? Can I do that?
Oh, now you're going too deep. All right,
hey, listen, we wanted to go into
now.
This,
that's
right?
3 quarterbacks now.
So, it's one game though. It's only 3 games.
One game. All right. So who you picking? I'm picking Jalen.
So you're picking Jaden for one big game, and you know what? I can't fault you for that because Jalen has that mindset that you know what I feel. So every time he's on that field, we're going to win that game. He gives you that security when he's
Hmm.
on that field. We're going to win that game, and I appreciate that, and I love that from the guy that was benched at Alabama for a quarterback that can't stay upright right now, who was he had 55 total touchdowns at Oklahoma in that 1 year. He had more total touchdowns than Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow did win the national championship in the Heisman. So uh, but I like Jalen. I love Nick Foles because he did give us that one game that we needed.
Hmm.
But the thing about having Michael Vick back there, like I,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
seen Michael Vick in college. Like I went to a Temple game, sitting in the stands. I seen him run from sideline to sideline and score on a 70-yard run. Right? We have
yeah,
seen the highlights he put on different opposing all defensive coordinators and their players game in and game out. Right? If we are talking about if there's no scouting. They don't know what this quarterback does, what they're particularly good at. Michael Vick all day. Like I said, I love Nick Foles. I love Jalen Hurts. Michael Vick has a certain dynamic which cannot be coached. Right? Not only does he have a powerful arm, not only does he
yeah,
have a pinpoint accuracy. Right? If you don't prepare for Michael Vick, he's gonna gut you. Right? That's taking into account, Don McNabb in his prime, he didn't have receivers and he would still make everything look easy. But Michael Vick put on a show with his best receiver being a tight end.
yeah, yeah.
you know, so it's hard to actually look at all of our quarterbacks. We go from Jalen to Nick Foles to Don McNabb, uh, to Randall Cunningham, to Vic. Some will even say you're going to go all the way back in the day to Jaworski. It's hard to say, which one of these quarterbacks would I pick. Only reason I say Vic is because he gives you that dynamic that as a defensive player, if I saw this guy run past me and I'm pretty fast at that time, then I'm like, oh crap, this is going to be a long day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with that, and I don't think that we're disrespecting Foles, but we're talking about.
You said
Danny
Kevin
Ritchie
Cobb.
said Kevin Kyle.
Hold on,
Stop
wait
it!
a minute.
Stop it, Danny! Stop it! all right, all right, Green. The Green Talents. Let me see what people are saying. The Green Talent said, "I think it's talking about Hugh. He's entitled to his opinion. I'm not mad at what he said, but if I was to pick a quarterback, it'll be Foles. All right, that's he has that on the record." Dion says, "Damn it, he's been the only Eagles quarterback to get it done." Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're not talking about that Super Bowl. We're just talking about a game in particular. We don't know what the supporting cast will be, but if you had to pick one of those teams, it could be. We could be talking about. We could be talking about any era of Eagles team. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was the Randall Cunningham offense, who would you pick to win that one game? You know what I'm saying? If it was the McDonovan McNabb era offense with T.O., who would you pick to win one game with those guys? So the
Oh,
supporting
that would
cast,
be that.
I
That would easy.
mean, it could be anybody, but we're talking about at that quarterback position, who you think is going to come in cool, calm, who's shown a consistent ability to be cool, calm, and win big games. Nick done it on the biggest stage, but throughout his career, though, if we look at throughout his career, Nick has been very up and down, and that's why I would have hesitancy on picking Nick because he has been up and down throughout his career. You know what I'm saying? Mike Vick was a perennial all pro. McNabb was a perennial all pro. Randall Cunningham was what was he considered back then? The weapon, the ultimate
Ultimate,
weapon, the
the
ultimate
ultimate.
weapon. And
And
Jalen Hurts is just the
and they made him.
latest.
Rich Kotite make him. He wanted to make him a pocket quarterback, and he broke his leg in a pocket. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, and I know Jalen has a a shorter body of work, but last year was just phenomenal to me. So
It was. It was.
it would be Jalen for me. Let me go through some more comments. Danny Ritchie says, it ain't Nick. I love Nick forever, but it's about who plays best in the moment in that day. And I feel Hurts will be most prepared out of them. And he's listing Vic, Foles, McNabb, and Cunningham. He also adds that Vic don't prepare. Vic has said multiple times he relied on talent alone. That's a good point right there.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think about that, right? Because there are other players that relied on talent alone, like Jamarcus Russell, who relied on talent alone that didn't prepare and was bust. Vic, like you said, Vic did not prepare. He did not look at it. If you gave him a tape to look at, it could have been Blake. He would say, "All right,
yeah.
cool." But his ability, that what makes it so dangerous to say, you know what? How good could he have been if he had a head coach like Bill Belichick or Andy Reid all of his career? All of his
That
career.
must be a Newport News type thing because Allen Iverson didn't like the you know what I'm saying? I mean, that must be in a Virginia thing or something. All right, Ed says,
man.
yeah, if the quarterback is going to play with this O-line or wide receivers while questioning Randall Cunningham, speed, accuracy, arm strength, and style, that would be. That's funny that you say that because I was on the other show with BG and we had a draft of all-time Eagles and that's who I drafted for my quarterback was Randall Cunningham. So yeah, I like Randall. And
who drafted Reggie White?
Man, well, we didn't do a snaking draft. We kind of the same person picked first every round, so he got he got the pick of the best player.
Corny.
And I know that was corny. I should have.
It wasn't until like BG, your partner over here, Eagle Sock, said that's corny.
Yeah, that was corny because he got the pick of everybody. The first player at every position, he got the pick of. So. I forget who he picked as quarterback. I think he picked Jalen, as a matter of fact. Oh, no, he picked Vic. Maybe he picked Vic. I forget. But I know I was second. I picked Randall Cunningham. All right. Green Talent says, we can't say Hurts. He was in middle school when we won the Super Bowl. No, we're not saying that it has to be the Super Bowl. We're just saying that who would you pick out of the Eagles quarterbacks to win you one game? James Etchfield said, you give Randall the offense that Hurts has, and we're putting up no less than 40 a game. Yeah, Randall played long enough and kind of reinvented himself in Minnesota, man. So we found out that he can play under a system. Randall would not be a bad choice in this situation. I'll give you credit for that.
I got
Danny Ritchie says Kevin Cobb's.
You put Kevin Cobb up there.
Benjamin said Jalen better than Vic. Jalen does read. He does read offenses. Defenses and the such. And he also is a big threat to run the ball too. So I can see that. That's why I picked Jalen. He's a running threat also, but I think he's better with the ball. He protects his body more. Vic will be out of the game in the damn first half because he don't know how to slide, and somebody will knock his damn head off. So I can't go with Vic. You know what I'm saying? I can go with Jalen because I know he can run, and he's smart about it. Thomas says Nick did bring us the city out, bring us the city out first. Yeah, he brought us our Super Bowl. Danny, stop playing. Danny's talking about some Jeff Garcia. Now he just fucking around now. All right, clutch is clutch. Foles won under the most pressure in Eagles history. Yeah, but if you had to win one game, could he do it again? That's what I'm saying. Because we haven't seen Foles play that good since that game. Damn it. You talking about damn it. We haven't seen Foles put another game together since that Super Bowl, even close to that. That's my point there. Like if I'm picking a quarterback who I'm not picking one game he played, I'm picking him based on his ability and what he's done. And Foles, he did win us our biggest game, but there were games he didn't win. The next year he didn't win us that game. You know what I'm saying? The next year, the beginning of the season, when he was not good. Right after the Super Bowl, he started the next year to begin the season because Wentz was not ready. Foles was not. He was not Super Bowl Foles, and that's that's the point I'm making with why I wouldn't choose him.
You're right, Dark Knight. You're right. They're just being facetious right now. They're saying Sam Bradford.
Yeah, he thought some Sam Bradford. Oh, don't get it twisted. I like Sam. I love Sam, man.
Sammy Sleeves
always let me down.
Oh yeah,
Sammy Sleeves, man.
I had to do a correction real quick. So when we won a Super Bowl, Jalen was actually a freshman at Alabama. There you go.
What? Say again.
I said when we won a Super Bowl, Jalen was a freshman at Alabama.
Oh wow. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it could go a lot of ways, man, and then we just having fun with it. Y'all right on Foles. The last 2 teams he played for, he was terrible with. Now I'm not sure where he's at. He's not. I don't even think he's playing. Danny just putting everybody. Now he talks some Eon book. He's talking about some. Ed Clinton said Pizarro check. Oh man, Brian Lewis said Dougie P. Oh my goodness, get out of here.
Dougie P was Andy Reid's first quarterback. Do you want to know something crazy about Dougie P?
What's that?
He was the starting quarterback that got Don Shula the record for most career wins as a head coach.
Who, Dougie P?
Dougie P was the quarterback. He was the one that get one of them the game.
That's a little known fact. We need to start, in the off season. Maybe I'll do some Eagles trivia. That's what we need to, it's a slow cycle right now until training camp starts. Maybe I'll bring in the Eagles. What? The Eagles.
This is why it's so slow.
He said we'll go with Roman Gabriel.
I'm sorry, Dark Knight. I know you had your
all right
going.
All right, yeah, maybe we'll do some Eagles trivia, but that's it for today's show. All right, I'm not going to be on here like BG for 5 hours, but I appreciate you guys. I have to cut it at 2 hours. Okay, I have to cut it at 2 hours, but you guys, thanks for joining us tonight, man. It's the off season, a little slow cycle, so we thank you guys for showing up with this late edition of Eagles Talk, and we will be back in 2 weeks. So enjoy your 4th of July weekend, man. Eat a lot of hot dogs. Pause. All right. And hamburgers, and enjoy yourself this weekend.
I got brisket.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm your man, Dark Knight. And for my co-host with the co-most, Pat Sandlin, we'll see you guys soon. We're out. Peace.
We go live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Smash him up, crack that fool. Quarterback, crack, yo, sack that fool. Hit him. Smash him up, watch that move. Went too swift, can't catch these dudes. Hit him.